man, if Quaid ends up being the next Clint Eastwood, like, if he wanted to, he could make like a film company called like Quaid Pictures,
Quaid Pictures,
Films,
Quaid Productions,
the Dennis Quaid Company.
I Can Only Imagine was directed by Andrew and John Erwin, and it stars Brody Rose as young Bart, J. Michael Finley as older Bart, as well as Madeline Carroll as his love interest Shannon, and Dennis Quaid is in this movie as well as Bart's father. And it's based on the life of Christian pop MercyMe lead singer Bart Millard, on his early life with his love of music and making things. Bart grows up an imaginative child, but is squelched by the scorns of his father, played by Dennis Quaid, who lost his own dream of college football, and Bart's accused of having unrealistic dreams and that he can't make money off of it. Arthur still basks in football, so Bart tries it out, but he breaks his legs during a practice and gets ushered into a music class where he stumbles into his hidden talent. In a bitter rage with his father, Bart leaves home and goes on the road with his bandmates to play at venues and for church groups, but the following record companies reject their unoriginal music, so he returns home to his dad, now a changed and kindly man, and reluctantly learns to forgive. With his father's health diminishing the pancreatic cancer, Bart takes to the road again, grieving, where he finds some inspiration in his old notebook to write I Can Only Imagine, which then leads Bart and his band to their renowned success. I'm joined by my friend Paul here, who wants to talk about some more Christian movies with me, and I just want to invite some more guests onto the video, so thanks a lot for coming along with me.
Yeah, I like to be exposed to new things. And this is a new thing for me after only watching the God's Not Dead movies, which were super cheesy. This was a good change for me.
It was definitely a good change for the both of us to see.
Yeah.
But how's it different from all the other Christian movies that you've seen?
Well, like, God's Not Dead does the whole, like, cameo thing super hardcore, especially in
very
God's Not
hardcore
Dead
and
2.
very
like,
obviously
they just like, let's stick the dude from Duck Dynasty in there. Here, like, this person did something that is good, but the group didn't think so.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to go against the grain and they're edgy. However, like, all works out. Like, in this movie, that never really arose. It was it focused more on a single aspect,
definitely,
versus dozens of others, which is
yes.
which is an issue that a lot of movies, and the two Christian movies that I've seen have had. There's a whole bunch of subplots in them, but
yes.
this one had almost no subplots that didn't have to do with the main story.
I would definitely say a huge improvement finally to PureFlix, as they have come around this time. And I've seen trailers for like a couple of other movies coming from them this coming year, but I think that huge improvement from PureFlix movies, and I'm very grateful that being able to just focus on that one story and focus on his one timeline, his one actually interesting timeline, and his bare bones timeline. I mean, you don't need anything else to tell the story. No other subplots, no other supporting characters.
This person didn't have to have hepatitis. Like you gotta kind of like. Don't make everything suck and then make it all be good in the end. Like let one thing suck and let that be a part of it. But
a couple of obstacles at a time. Along the journey.
Yeah, don't throw a bunch of stuff at us.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
I had the preconception of, could this be cheesy? Could this not? Does it all work out? I think it works out very well.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. Yeah,
like there was hardly any cheese. The only cheese.
There were hardly any stereotypes.
Yeah. Like, the only cheese that I noticed was the grandmother. She just couldn't stop saying mercy
me.
Like, in every scene, it was mercy me, and I was like, okay, we get it. But other than that, and she didn't have a lot of scenes, but like those particular scenes kind of took me out of the moment real quick. But it did drama well, and it had a great character development. There was a lot, they developed these characters a whole lot better than, like, I hate to go back to God's Not Dead.
God's Not Dead.
Yeah. The only people who I thought didn't have a developed character were those who didn't need one. And
that's how a story is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to go. I mean, it's not like you throw in a kid. Well, what these movies usually tend to do is they throw characters in just to kind of take up space, to have a voice, things like that. but there's no purpose to them. They actually don't need to be there. They don't tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this had those supporting characters in there, but they're either just some acquaintance in Bart's life or some other relative or other kinds of bandmates.
Yeah, or they were part of some formative moment in his life. Whereas, like, movies generally kind of can do this wrong, where they'll throw in a new character just to be an obstacle and then get rid of them in 2 minutes.
Yes.
And this character, where the characters were obstacles, they were the obstacles for the whole movie versus just that one scene or versus that one like moment in the movie. And I really like that. It brings you into it more because now you're invested in not only the main character, but also now these other antagonist style characters.
All of the other people who are introduced to it one step at a time. I mean, the record label guy with the ponytail, who kind of comes along randomly.
John Brickle, I think his name was.
Yes. He sticks around throughout the whole thing, and he plays a major part in it.
This movie also had stakes, which was great.
Yes.
Whereas other movies where they're like, oh, it's super drama filled and it's very intense, but there's no stakes because they're just good at everything. I like that most of his obstacles come from people whom cared about him the most. The only obstacle that I think could be seen as like not really a person who cared about him was his dad, even though his dad after he left.
I mean, his dad is the primary obstacle.
Yeah, the dad being the primary obstacle and the only one in the movie that was an obstacle that was seen as uncaring. Whereas his other obstacle was like his problems with his girlfriend Shan at the time, and then their manager Mr. Brickle or whatever. They all had criticisms to him.
Yes.
And with his girlfriend, he didn't really. He was like, okay, you don't get me. I'm leaving. So he kind of avoided that for half the movie, and then came back to it and kind of like cleared it all up and made it a whole better thing.
Yeah.
And none of those people like didn't care about him. They all cared about him a lot. Versus his father, who is seen as uncaring,
right,
and is the only like being the main like hurdle he has to get over was honestly the largest one because he couldn't get past his dad in a way. He couldn't physically or mentally. His dad
kept coming in when the record label people who after that one concert were giving him, "You're not good enough. This music isn't good enough." Yeah. And then when he's hearing his dad's voice come in, and then the movie intercuts with the previous moments of his dad criticizing him. Yeah. So he's hearing his dad's voice. We're hearing his dad's voice. We're seeing exactly what the character's seeing, and it all relates very, very well to that one moment.
And that for me kind of seemed like the climax of that problem because he needed to it actually came to a head at that moment.
Yes, you need to deal with this now.
Yeah, and that was when he decided to leave and then go back home to see his dad and find out his dad had pancreatic cancer. His dad has found Jesus.
Then Bart once and for all has to figure out the right way to redeem with him because he's still very bitter.
Yeah. And the thing that I liked about it too is that there was also still that turn back moment for him when he went back home. He was going to leave, and he was unable to. And when he had the moment to, he's seen the pamphlets for the pancreatic cancer.
He can't start his motorcycle. He can't get the keys to the truck.
Yeah, and that's like in the movie, it's like God, like you got to deal with it now.
Yes,
you've got to do it now. Like I'm not letting you run from it anymore.
I mean, you might call it coincidental, or even seeing the beats ahead of time. Like he can't start the motorcycle. Okay, oh, this is the part where the character can't get away. He has to face his problem. He goes in the truck. He can't find his keys. Yes, he can't find his keys. I mean, someone smart enough, I guess, who wants to follow the movie like 2 steps ahead of itself would probably say, well, it's just convenient, and that's just what the character's supposed to do. But I think this movie's still beyond that.
Things that the character's supposed to do are things the character's supposed to do. So it's got to happen. Like you can't just be like, oh, it's too convenient. It really wasn't.
How else would that have happened?
Yeah, he would have been gone, and then they would have known his dad died. He would have came back like 5 years later or something, and not had a record label.
Yeah,
and then noticed that his dad doesn't exist. So there has to be something that keeps him there. There has to be something that makes him face the fear, and that moment was very pivotal in the movie because you see not only his vulnerability but his dad's as well, which was the person who seemed the least vulnerable.
This movie added character depth and added character complexity. I think we can pick through this movie over and over for all the different themes and all the different character traits that you can pick out of it.
Yeah.
Which, as far as I've seen and as far as to my experience, hasn't happened in any PureFlix movie that I've seen before. The characters have been painfully one-dimensional, they've been painfully flat, and they've been painfully like standing for one or two things, and that's it throughout the whole movie.
It's like,
then they have their regular turn of fate as you expect it, and I can't root for anybody when that was happening in other films.
because there's almost no stakes, there's no repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
Once they put God, they're like, here, this is a movie about someone's interactions with their life and the Lord. Now that you know that, let's put the Lord on the back burner and see how these characters dealt with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the movies that I've seen, they didn't do that. It was always like, oh, this is a problem. Let me go home and pray.
The message telling the story.
Yeah.
That's what I've been seeing over and over.
These movies didn't focus so much on prayer. They only really put it in when it was necessary, like that moment.
Shannon praying for Bart every day.
Shannon praying for Bart every day.
We don't have any prayer scenes in this movie.
One. When they were in the youth group with Bart and Shannon, when Shannon says to the group that he wants the group to pray for someone or whatever.
The support group.
Yeah, like, and there's very few prayer scenes, but those prayer scenes mean something to the movie versus other movies.
Versus this is a Christian movie, we need to pray in this movie because that's what Christians do. They just pray all the time.
Yeah.
Let's just pray all the time in this movie.
They kind of brought reality into it,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of other Christian movies and other movies in general, they're kind of like reality doesn't take place in this bubble.
Yes.
So we're gonna let this bubble be.
All the reality, dirty, R-rated reality stuff. We're gonna keep all that out. Yes, it's very. They're usually a closed-in, churchy kind of. Here's how we like to tell our stories.
Yeah, where if you let reality then take place, let how someone would actually live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of avoiding of the hard parts of life in a lot of these movies. It kind of sucks to say about like society and everything, but when you actually see the rough parts, it makes it more intense.
Yeah,
and it adds more stakes. It makes it seem as if
it fleshes it out.
Yeah,
makes it look like it actually happened.
Like there are moments in other movies where instead of showing whatever gritty part they're gonna show, they're gonna pan away and like now you didn't see it, but it's implied that it happened. Versus in this movie, it actually happens and you actually get to see it. I like that more. It had more. It had more of a punch to it. Like, no Christian movies ever made me cry, but this one.
I had to hold it in a few times.
Yeah.
That's never happened with any, Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ.
But outside of that, I've never cried to any Christian movie prior to this.
Yeah,
I had to hold it in.
And I tend to be good at not crying.
I tend to be really good. I can stay pretty serious, or I know where the emotional hills are going to come. But I saw the serious moments come. I saw this character is just going through all this stuff. And you still couldn't avoid it.
You still couldn't emotionally avoid it. Yeah.
Emotions. This movie's doing it.
I liked it. There was a lot more atmosphere to it. It kind of
a lot more real life.
Yeah, you kind of forgot. You were, you of course watched a movie, but you kind of forgot you were like in a theater.
I just accepted that this is based on a true story, and I can see all these different people, how they probably did act in Bart's life. They don't feel like pawns or fake people popping up that they're trying to use to tell the story. Okay, so sorry about the quick interruption, but I had to make a change to this camera that's shooting on Paul because the other camera's battery is very stubborn and kept quitting out, and I had troubles with charging that up. So I swapped it out with my phone, so if you notice a slight difference in picture quality or in color quality or anything like that, that's what's going on.
Yeah,
so anyway,
just guessed the bad camera.
Yeah. So anyway, we're just going to try to move on with the rest of this review. Do you want to start over with Dennis Quaid?
Let's touch on the Quaid a little bit. Let's touch on Mr. Quaid.
I've heard mixed feelings and mixed reviews about him from other kinds of people.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost like the disposable supporting character or the disposable protagonist.
But he also does it well. I haven't seen any movies where he's been a supporting actor where he hasn't done a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think especially as an actor, he shows himself off very well.
Yeah.
As Bart's father. I think his fatherly figure from The Parent Trap really started to fade away when I saw more of his fatherly character come out when he's just trashing Bart's stuff and he's being mean and abusive to the wife and especially toward Bart himself, and just to see him all raggedy. But he wasn't stereotypical. He wasn't wasn't just putting up an act toward this abusive father. I mean, he was mean. He was just in your face, and he didn't want to have anything to do with anything that Bart was doing in his early life.
Nothing from Dennis Quaid feels forced. Nothing from any character in the movie felt forced.
Yeah, definitely from any of the rest of the cast here. But I didn't really see Quaid. I didn't really see, the actor behind the name behind the actor. I didn't see any of his other roles behind him. I just saw this crappy father who needed some sort of redemption.
Exactly.
I would comment on how technically proficient that this film was, especially with the camera work and the lighting and all the visual stuff and everything like that. There were a lot of wonderful shots that they did with this movie for like the intensity of the fights between Quaid and the young Bart. There were so many wonderful moments where everything looked really nice, everything looked gritty for the moments, everything looked beautiful for the moments. We see everything in just the right appropriate ways through Bart's point of view.
It feels smooth, like it doesn't feel very rocky, like that panning scene where it keeps going in circles around Bart. It's like it feels very smooth. Nothing feels forced.
Nothing was dizzying.
Yeah, and in that very scene, they subtly brought like religion back into it with you seeing Bart's dad, and then it also goes back to the actual crowd, and it keeps going back and forth, and you see what everybody believes is the afterlife and still being watched over by your family and everything, and it doesn't feel forced. It feels good. Yeah. It's a good resolution moment for the movie.
Yeah, I am incredibly relieved to see a movie come out of PureFlix, to see a movie come out of this genre, and everything just works just right. I want to applaud at certain parts of the movie. I wanted to applaud at the end of the movie. Everything just felt just right. Nothing was overperformed. Nothing stereotypical. The writing, the directing, the casting, everything was just on point.
Yeah.
Incredibly well. Everything felt real. All the intensity and all the drama and the most difficult scenes and the abusive scenes, it was all there.
They just did good. They did.
I'm very happy about it. I'm very happy about how well done that everything was done with this movie. I think I would go ahead and give I Can Only Imagine an A. Yeah.
I would give it like a B plus or an A.
Yeah.
As a movie as a whole, and like a B plus. In terms of a Christian film, I would give it definitely an A. I want to just have a larger database of Christian movies under my belt because I only have God's Not Dead, and those aren't great movies.
I can help you work on that.
Let's do it
easily.
I'm in.
Well, thank you very much for being part of this video. It was really good to hear your perspective, and it was really good to hear things kind of turn around in your mind, and you be able to just tell all the different layers that you appreciate in the movie. So
yeah, I like seeing all movies. And I want to get more into the Christian films, but like the Christian films that I've seen are very cheesy, and I like good movies. So I've been kind of staying away. But if they keep putting these out, I'm gonna keep watching.
Well, we're gonna keep watching them. We'll go to a premiere someday.
Yeah,
like one night.
We're gonna go to Sundance Christian Festival
and just pay them all the money. And like, yeah, keep doing this. Keep looking forward to the rest of the views that I have for the rest of this month. But until my next video, stay faithful to the movies. Thank you.